It's not very often that something occurs which affects everyone who watches my videos, but that is exactly what happens when the video platform to which I upload these videos, YouTube.com, makes a change that affects literally every video ever uploaded. I'm of course talking about the site's decision to completely remove the dislike count, and YouTubers are not pleased. To give you an idea of how unhappy they are, one of the co-founders of YouTube, Jawed Karim, took a break from snacking on caviar in his mansion swimming pool, or whatever rich people do in their free time, dusted off his old YouTube account, and wrote a 300-word critique of the decision. And honestly, I can't help but agree. This is a completely unnecessary change that will more than likely have a negative impact on the quality of content on the site. However, I haven't seen a lot of videos that accurately explain the main reasons why this is so bad, so I offer this video to explain why I think this change is something every user on the platform should care about, and how it could have dire consequences for the future of YouTube. Notice how earlier I said YouTube is removing the YouTube dislike count from the interface, because this is the extent of what they're actually doing. This means there will still be a dislike button, but you just won't be able to see the number of dislikes, nor will you be able to see the ratio of likes to dislikes. I think this is important to stress because a lot of people in the comments of YouTube's announcement video seem to have completely missed this, despite the fact they mentioned it like 100 times in the video.
The update from YouTube is that the dislike button is staying.
Guys, the video is literally 3 minutes long. I know 15-second Family Guy epic moments on TikTok have destroyed our attention spans, but if you're going to come out with your guns blazing, at least point your barrels in the right direction.
Oh, okay.
Now that we know what is being removed, let's talk about the reasoning for doing so. You can go and watch YouTube's original announcement video, but to summarize, the rationale was that some YouTube videos are getting dislike bombed, negatively impacting the mental health of content creators. As a side note, the person presenting the video is actually a real YouTuber. I guess they thought we'd take the news a little better if it wasn't some random tech megacorp product rep. Dislike bombing is a phenomenon that occurs when a lot of people see a video they hate. Users will leave dislikes en masse or dislike bomb, as well as leave hate comments in an attempt to drown out the creator. Definitely not something I've ever experienced, by the way. It's parallel to ratioing someone on Twitter for blaspheming against the Holy Church of Dream SMP. An important note is that dislike bombing only happens to videos with a certain amount of views. Nobody's emo posting Paramore lyrics to Tumblr because their King Batch Vine compilation with 20 views got 4 dislikes. So naturally, the people with the highest risk of this are giant YouTube channels with a lot of viewership. And as you might expect, this doesn't exactly quell the suspicion that this is a cynical move to benefit big media and giant corporations. But in YouTube's defense, this is not an unsympathetic situation. Getting hate of any kind is disheartening. And yes, there are probably people out there who take dislike bombs quite personally to the point that they feel depressed. It's natural to want to protect the people who make the content you make money off of. And frankly, this is only the latest in their efforts to try to eradicate hate from the website. So we probably should have seen this coming. You may recall that YouTube removed exact subscriber counts because of the whole James Charles saga of 2019, where entire live streams were set up to watch his YouTube channel crumble as people mass unsubscribed. They clamped down on harsh critique videos directed towards specific people, flat out banning users like Leafy is here. And on a related note, let's not forget the terribly rocky start of the demonetization system either. Frankly, it's a wonder the dislike count feature lasted as long as it did. So what motivated YouTube to put their foot down on the dislike count all of a sudden? After all, it's been about 1.5 years since YouTube made such a change on this scale. In their video, YouTube cites a recent internal study they performed to justify these changes. To be clear, it's nice to hear YouTube attempting to lay out reasons for why they're making a change, instead of going with their patented force everyone to comply and offer shaky reasons after the fact strategy. But when I say cite, technically they haven't shown any data from the study, so we're still taking their word for it. A lot of people have taken this to mean there is no way a study could have been done, that YouTube is talking out of its bright red ass. And this isn't really true. For example, the study could have been a survey asking users who have experienced dislike bombing to rate how they feel about the motivation of the dislikes and how it's impacting them. And as I stated before, I would not be surprised if these users didn't feel so good about it, regardless of what action you think should be taken as a result. So I'm willing to give YouTube the benefit of the doubt here, although it would still be nice to see what findings they're referring to. And so, YouTube's theory is that if dislikes are visible only to the creator, bad actors will be less likely to dogpile the creator because nobody else will be able to see the impact of their feedback. But all of this points to one big problem. What none of this takes into account is the fact that their platforms actually allowed users to optionally disable ratings on their videos for years now. It seems pretty obvious to me that if a creator is concerned about getting dislike bombed, he or she may disable ratings. After all, you can't get ratioed if there is no ratio to begin with. But YouTube has responded to this point, saying creators can be bullied or harassed for disabling ratings, so it's probably better just to remove them entirely. Fine. But this misses an important question. Where are these creators being made fun of exactly? You guessed it, the YouTube comment section. You see, YouTube buried the lead in their response, essentially telling us that they've already tried allowing ratingless videos and it didn't magically make all of their users saints. The reality is that in almost every instance of hate or harassment, the source is hateful comments, not people hitting the dislike button. This makes YouTube's change to be like a sad game of whack-a-mole, where you bash yourself over the head instead of your target. And if viewers have resorted to the comment section to harass creators when they've optionally disabled dislike buttons in the past, what's to say they won't still voice their disapproval in the comments? Already, you're seeing users creating comments that say, "Use this as a dislike button." Trolls will always improvise, adapt, and overcome, and if you put yourself out there, there's always the potential for negativity. And by the way, let's not pretend that YouTube comments don't hurt much more than someone spending 2 seconds to click a thumb-shaped button. A fact YouTube should be aware of, because every single video they've ever uploaded has some 500-pound Redditor writing a 7-paragraph essay about why they hate the platform.
If you like the sound, adding sound to your short is so easy, just tap right here. Then tap use.
The more effort a person goes through to tell you to delete your channel, the more you might actually feel like doing so. I'm sure in 2031, when YouTube has eradicated all form of user interaction from the platform, someone will commission an airplane banner inscribed with "You fell off," and we'll be back to where we started with this dumb discussion. What we're still ignoring though is the fact that the dislike button is sometimes, dare I say usually, used for good. If you have a legitimate criticism or grievance concerning a video going forward, the only way you'll be able to indicate if a video is or is not worth watching will be through the comments section, which people usually don't scroll through until committing some time to the video anyway, possibly even watching the whole thing and coming to such a conclusion on their own. Part of the reason why I'm even making this video is because as a content creator, I spend a lot of time looking for media on YouTube and try to waste as little time finding it as possible. If I'm looking for a Vine boom sound effect, I don't want some garbage with an audio jungle watermark and a 30-second dubstep intro. So in the past, if I happened to click on a video with a high ratio of dislikes to likes, I would immediately click off of it and go to the next option, because let's face it, there is a lot of garbage on this platform, and that's just one example of many that demonstrates the value in seeing user feedback in a single, simple metric which tells you if something is worth your time. It's not as if the choice to remove the dislike count was a binary one either, to keep the dislike count or to remove it. They could have tried a tiered favorability system, for example, where the ratio isn't explicitly shown but certain percentages indicate certain levels of favorability. They could have experimented with the UI to make the dislike button less prominent, or make it so you can't press dislike without watching a certain amount of the video. Maybe they even tried these ideas and they didn't work. Who knows? But the announcement gives us the sense that they found a problem with an important feature on their platform, and instead of fixing it, they removed it with little thought to the consequences. At the end of the video, the presenter makes an offhand comment that we won't even notice the change, and most social media sites don't have a dislike button at all.
And keep in mind, other platforms don't even have a dislike button.
And there seems to be no sign of
consider
intelligent
that.
life
Thank
anyway.
If YouTube relied completely on a follower feed and recommendation algorithm like Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok, then they might have a point. And the fact that they don't seem to realize that they are a completely different animal is somewhat concerning, to put it mildly. The fact is, search and manual discovery of content is a much more crucial feature to YouTube than any of those sites, and comments alone are not going to be enough. This is assuming, of course, that comments won't get taken away too, which may seem like a ridiculous suggestion now, but at this point, it feels like we're riding this slippery slope all the way to hell. My hope is that YouTube realizes they've made a mistake and reverses course as they've done in the past, because this solution no more solves cyberbullying than shooting yourself in the foot solves a stubbed toe. I want to reiterate that YouTube's crusade against hate has honorable intentions and points to a difficult dilemma that social media platforms are faced with as they grow. But removing an essential feature that helps us make our own decisions about whether or not to consume a given video is just going to create more problems. For now, thanks for watching this video. Please leave a comment and a like on the video if you found it helpful, and subscribe for more lukewarm takes like this one. And hell, you might as well hit that dislike button for old time's sake.